Of all the quarterbacks that I mentioned there, Stugotz, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Tua, Burrow, Lawrence, Love. Those are all $50 million a year quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow is the one traditional quarterback that all of us would say at $55 million, put him anywhere, even though his skill guys are really good too.
Yeah.
Put him anywhere, and we think he'll be a great quarterback. Jordan Love last year, with limited offensive weapons but a very good offensive line, looked to be in that category of quarterback over the last games when he went to Dallas and ransacked a Dak Prescott that gets accused of some of the same system stuff that Tua gets accused of, that Goff gets accused of, that diminishes Hurts as well. I think we all agree that Herbert, because he had great skill guys too, that Herbert looks the part of whatever it is that Burrow is offering you, and then Lamar Jackson is a weird amalgamation of system and changes at the position. The Tua stat that I find most interesting on do you put him in this $50 million category is that he's third in passing when he gets rid of everything before 2.5 seconds. And he's 16th after that. So it's not just that you have to be perfect to wide receiver and your skill players need to be paid more than anybody else to keep it just so. And it's not just that your offensive line has to hold up, that you've gamed the system a little bit because your system allows him to get rid of it so quickly that he doesn't get injured and they're proficient quickly. But it better be perfect for him. Everything's got to be perfect for him.
Including the weather. I mean, throw that in there as well. It's crazy.
And the first-round playoff matchup.
He's a weird quarterback. I'm not saying he's not deserving of the money. He's deserving of the money. He got the money. But if you put two out in the free market where any team could have signed them this year, do you think a single team would have offered him $55 million?
Yes, I think a single team would have, but not that many. I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
Single team offered Kirk Cousins that, and there was actually like a buyer's market for him.
Right.
You need.
They got in trouble with the league for tampering because they needed to get an advantage at signing Kirk Cousins.
My point is, however Detroit feels about Jared Goff is about how Miami should feel about Tua. Both of them very highly regarded. You saw both of them do some failing, or what felt like failing, and you also saw one of them get to 2 Super Bowls. And he's got the $53.1 million, and the stat I just gave you on all that, a combined 16-17 record between all those $50 million deals. That's not actually winning anything.
Because it's losing to the top guy.
Right. Mahomes is doing all the winning.
Yeah.
That's at least part of it because they've got their top guy pretty cheap because they got him early and because the smartest of these guys know to allow for some savings in some corners so that you can do the winning because that game really hurts when you're losing. Like it hurts a little extra when there are losses involved with everything. I wanted to get to what Jerry Jones said, Stugotz, because tell me why this means anything. I've been making fun for a while about the fact that Jerry Jones is winning the business of sports because the Cowboys stink, but they're always relevant. They never win anything. They haven't won in 30 years, but they're the most valuable franchise, and he's the biggest businessman in the sport because he knows how to keep them relevant because he knows it's the circus, and he knows to say things like this that don't mean anything. Quote, I'm all in. I'm all in.
What more do you want from the man?
What else can you ask? I mean,
they asked him. They asked him about Jordan Love's contract and do they think Dak is better than Jordan Love? And he took you all the way around the mountain when she comes, and he did not give an answer. It's easy to say yes, my quarterback is better than everybody else. He won't do it though. Yeah.
He's all in. I mean.
It doesn't mean anything. Those words mean nothing in a salary cap sport, right? They're all in. That would mean something if you were actually competing over the dollars, if there weren't limits and he had to actually fight these people. God, that'd be so great. Do you know how much more interesting? We obsess over the $50 million these quarterbacks get. Do you know how much more interesting all of this would be if Jerry Jones had to be fighting the next richest owner for a quarterback they both want?
I don't know. I love soccer. I love club soccer. But before the year, outside of like some crazy historical outliers like with Leicester and whatnot, you got like 7 teams, 2 of which are actually competing for the title. It's not It's not all that entertaining from a like who's going to win a championship standpoint.
You
That's
think
why
Jerry Jones would be winning everything if he was just getting all the players that he wanted?
Well, not necessarily in football. In American football, that's also tricky because you have injuries there. But I would like to see a day. I don't think the salary cap's a bad thing in American sports. I like the parity. I like that you enter seasons, and across all major sports, you have fans saying this could be our year if a couple things break our way. But I would like to see something collectively bargained where you agree, maybe the quarterback position, maybe some, like you got 5, like MLS does this. You have designated players. You can pay them anything. You have to be judicious, and then you can have a real talk. Do we burn up a designated player spot on Tua? Because that means now we only have 2 of them left.
Doesn't count against the cap is what you're saying.
Yeah, where you have positions that don't count at all against a cap, and it's a free open market for the very best in their sport. I'd like to see that in American sports outside of MLS.
Did you guys cover on Friday what I believe to be a story that should be getting more play both nationally and internationally that involves Cal Quantrill? Do you know the story that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I saw this on social media.
Okay, but did you guys talk?
Is that Paul Quantrill's son?
It has to be.
It must be.
How many Quantrills can there possibly be in this country that play baseball?
I saw there was a Homer Bush Jr. running around.
Oh, boy. Really?
Wait a
Already?
second.
Already?
Yeah, there was a Homer.
what?
Yes, I saw a Homer Bush Jr. running around. Cal Quantrill. But do you know the story I'm talking about? What the Rockies pitcher said to Reese McGuire of the Red Sox. It is what I believe to be the single greatest insult in trash talking I have ever heard that also happens to be true in sports. Yelled at him in the middle of an argument, "You jacked off in a bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep."
I think he told him to go do that.
No,
No, he didn't.
No.
Just as a matter of fact.
No, you've done that.
I wiki searched you before this.
Yes.
Before this.
No, not go do that. That would also be a good thing to insult him with. But go do that because I know you have done it.
Yeah, like go do it again.
Go do it because we all know this about you. How much better does it get than that at the height of rage in terms of being able to hit somebody over the head with an incident from their past?
It's like a bit of a checkmate because what's your rebuttal?
A bit?
What's your rebuttal? Like, get some new material. Oh, everybody tells me that. Oh, no.
You gotta be like, touche.
You got me. You did. I did do that. It's a horrible shame for me, and everyone knows it.
I think Juju's right, by the way. I'm seeing a picture over here. I see "go" come out of his mouth first. Like, go jerk off in a parking lot.
Either way, we understand the sentiment.
Yeah, we get it.
We don't really need to parse it.
Yeah.
Like, the sentiment, it's the same. Wow. Paul Quantrill's son.
Amazing. Homer Bush.
We're so old, dude. It does warm the cockles a little bit when you see Trinity Rodman out there, but then you're reminded that they don't have a good relationship and quote, don't see eye to eye on the world.
Not surprising. One of my famous favorite Dennis Rodman facts is that his own father had, I believe it was 21 children, and his name was actually Philander. That's not usually something that you get.
Back full circle, we just left this. Jerry Jones, it's a perfect example of keeping it real goes wrong. If you would have paid Dak Prescott 2 years ago when you're supposed to pay Dak Prescott, he would have been in the category of Daniel Jones and them. Now you're going to have to pay that man more money. Salute to you, big bro.
If he wants to stay.
Let me ask you guys this question as it relates to Pat Riley here locally, because for some reason in the changes throughout sports where we know all the money everybody makes and all of us feel like fantasy GMs and we all feel like we could be better architects than the people doing the architecting. I understand anybody who looks at what's happened to the Miami Heat over the last 2 years and criticizes Pat Riley for falling behind because it's a results business. But I saw that Tyus Jones signed for the minimum, and a lot of people were saying, as they do, again, because they've got the Heat have Thomas Bryant, a four-string center, and the Heat aren't getting better, that Pat Riley is washed and he should go away. And my question to you locally is, How do you imagine that happening if I keep telling you guys that 5 people run this organization and Riley reports to Nick Harrison? That if you get rid of Riley, you're doing what? Bringing someone in over Spoelstra when Spoelstra's been given the job and the power he's been given, and not to go to Portland where he could have had an ownership stake because they're promising him that he can be a part of all the decision-making in the future. When you're running Pat Riley out, are you replacing him with someone else, or are you just making Spoelstra the one who's over Riley, even though I keep telling you guys at every turn there are 5 people who make all the decisions in that organization, and Riley gets all the credit for it because Riley's still the figurehead that works for everybody in the organization as mythological leader of the thing?
I've never met like someone that isn't like juicing it up and being performative that wants to show Pat Riley the door. That is an actual Heat fan. I think everyone understands what he's bought for himself with this franchise, made them relevant, made them matter, brought them their greatest success, is still recently pretty successful. I think everyone just wants him to, like, come on, figure it out. Be more aggressive.
Get one more.
Come on.
Right.
Like, you're getting old. We're all growing impatient. Do something. I want it to be you that does it. I don't want to work myself up. I will never get to that point, by the way. It just is what it is. There are very few people that get to that point in sports where you understand they get to do whatever they want for however long that they want. And it's not like they're terrible. They're just not winning a championship.
But, Mike, that's not a deal anyone has. Belichick just got run out on a rail. Like, that's not a deal that works in sports.
And no one has done more winning than
Well,
Belichick.
You can say that. We're better people down
Culture.
here, I guess.
No, I understand fans running him out, Mike. I do.
They aren't, to Mike's point. I'm
They're
with
not.
Mike. You don't hear
No,
people.
it's not a real thing. That's
No.
egg Avi logic.
No.
These are not real people.
There are fans that are upset with the Heat and Riley and his inability to land some of the big free agents.
You're looking at them.
I know.
I don't want to push them out.
But they have that perspective. They can say it
No.
all. They can say both things. They can say,
Right.
get a superstar,
Yeah.
and also you're Pat Riley, and you can kind of do what you want.
I think they're being respectful. I don't believe the fans who were saying, hey, I have perspective. He could stay as long as he wants. You're being respectful to Pat. You want to win. You want to win now. It's okay. Push Pat out.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel like the game is passed him by,
doing that.
then say the game is passed him by.
no,
I'm not
no,
saying these things.
no.
I don't care
I'm not
enough
pushing him,
about
you
the
push
team.
him.
I'm not pushing him. I
Dan,
ain't
you
pushing
push
him. I ain't pushing him.
Tony, you push him.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will not do that.
Tony, push him out.
And I would
Will
say,
not
like,
do that.
if you're arguing that it's 5 people that make the decision, it's not one solo person, then that's a totally different scenario than what was happening in New England, where you had Kraft and you had Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wanted all the power. He wanted so much power that when he hit an open market, nobody wanted him. I wonder if that would be the case with Pat Riley, but it's a totally different situation.
I just
would
don't think that the people listening to this understand that Pat Riley reports to Nick Harrison. Like, I don't think that that's something that anybody listening to this understands or considers for a moment. This is the Harrisons franchise. They hide purposefully and powerfully in the shadows running the franchise, and I've seen them say no to Pat Riley on things. He reports
usually
to,
when it's a luxury tax.
He
But I
reports-
can't push out the owners.
right.
Well, but that's isn't
You
that
gotta push. That's my point.
I got my issues.
Right.
But
There
is
weren't
it-
T-shirts at the last playoff. I
Isn't-
wanted white hot T-shirts. I got a rally towel. I know where we're cutting corners. I saw what happened during the pandemic in the cruise line industry.
Isn't that why they lost Tyus Jones, because of the second apron stuff? That you guys, the part that I don't get is you obsess over the $53 million on Tua, and then when it comes to the second apron stuff, you don't actually understand what's happening there.
I do. Who are you talking about? Yes, I care about it. I don't give a flying F about the apron. I want the billionaire owner to spend the money to be competitive and do what other owners are doing. Over here, they have done so well that fans, in a twisted way, because it's spoon-fed from media that they like, hey, we got under the tax apron. Like, that's a banner that we should be raising. But, like, you have Heat fans that celebrate it. Wow, we're so good, we got under that apron.
My point
I don't
is,
care.
My point isn't that you should care about whether they get under the tax apron. My point is that earlier in the show, you were telling me that you care about Tua's contract because it has to do with whether or not the team can stay under the salary cap.
Right, but it's a different sport. There's money to go around. You can go in the NBA into luxury tax town to improve your team. The Miami Heat say that they're willing to go there, but often their moves suggest, what was the real motivation here? Is it getting better? Is it getting better sometimes while also getting under the apron, which is something that, to their credit, they've been able to do? Or is it just cost cutting? and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not
Nobody
pushing
is,
Pat
A
Riley.
sports fan never is a huge fan of where does the business save money. But you are when it comes to the salary cap in football on where it is that you can save money.
No, again,
Because it affects your enjoyment of it. You're counting the dollars in the bank of Tua because you're doing all sorts of math that I've always hated having around sports.
I think no one cares about the specifics of it. I just want to know my team is doing this game on par with the good teams. It's like, okay, this team is spending this much on their quarterback. Let's not be the team that takes their quarterback that's in the middle kind of and over. Like, you just want to, I don't care. I think you're overstating that fans are like, oh, it's 54. It should have been 52. No, it's just, I want to know what quarterbacks get more, what get less, and just make sure that my guys slotted in the right area.
I think you guys are burying the lead. The Miami Heat are your Summer League NBA champions
Damn
right
right.
now. So I think we should just do more celebrating of that.
We didn't talk about that
during
at
the
all.
24 hours of grace.
Sweater whip.
We allow them 20. It has been a summer of banners down here in South Florida. Look, everybody was making fun of them last year for falling short and not, oh, you lost in 2 finals. You didn't win anything. Well, the Panthers won the cup and the Heat won a championship over the summer. Boom. They shut a lot of people up.
We did not talk at all about the Summer League championship.
Why would we?
And we are not going to talk.
Were they
at
talking
all
about it in
the
Africa?
Summer
When's the
League
parade?
Championship.
Rough summer for parades, by the way. They're all getting rained on. Panthers, Olympics.
That Celtics
Thanksgiving
one didn't get
better look
rained
out.
on. Celtics one did not get rained on. There were 1 million people there.
Well, they outsource it to Miami half the time.
What else did you guys like about the opening weekend of the Olympics? Because I was talking about us and some of the things that we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks to cover the Olympics, and I don't believe we've ever covered the Olympics before. Not in any kind of organized way. Not caring about. We're always waiting. What's the storyline of the day that's going to make an appearance that we can talk about and chew on from pop culture? But I don't remember in our entire 20-year history of a show us ever planning or thinking about what we were going to talk about regarding the Olympics.
Yeah, and I think we've done a decent job in chewing as to why that is. And we did have like one in London not too long ago, but I guess we were in different places, and the Miami Heat certainly were in a different place, and the offseason was a bigger deal there, and that would carry us a little bit more. But I think a lot of it has to do with it's all super accessible. It's in a time zone that we can all follow. If I want to watch handball, I can watch handball, and I can do it. And it's always great when we have sports on here. We're more invested because we are
It's just action
working
in
a
the
job
morning.
where we can watch it. Oh, a spill here in the men's gold medal final in skateboarding.
Right.
You're not going to be able to recover from that one, son.
Yeah, because we care about that now. Right.
Also, I'm like a dog with a bone on women's water polo. It is going down. Salute to Flavor Flav, Don Staley. Salute to my girls, too, Giovanna Sokolich, Tara Prentice, Maddie Musselman, and Maggie Steffens, man. Come on, dog. We just caught an L against Spain. Now, the Spain, they got that look in their eyes. And they got a great goalie.
It's also like a very married experience.
Right?
Sitting down on the couch, as Stugotz mentioned it, like my wife gets into the Olympics in ways that are pretty profound and that I'm really enjoying. She's more into it than I am, so much so that we're watching all the shoulder programming uninterrupted as a docu-series on U.S. women's gymnastics as they ramped up for this Olympics. That's quite good.
That's
and
what
lets
it's
me to get
always
invested.
been, Mike. It's the Olympics. This is what I was telling you about
Since
last
Karch
week.
Karai. I mean, yeah.
Since before that, Stugotz. Karch Karai is not the original Olympic athlete on broadcast television. It is. It's a family event. It's always been. I'm surprised that you just realized it after 4 days again.
Took me having a family.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, WFAN came calling to fill in for Boomer Esiason. So, he had to fly out to New York, the Big Apple, to live out his dream of hosting New York sports radio. While there, he didn't watch a single second of sports that the audience wanted to talk about. Giants Hard Knocks? Nope. Subway Series? Nope. Instead, he took a gummy and wandered around south of Houston Street, Soho. Dan, But just like that, after 4 days out, 4 days off, the rare 4 days off where I was actually working, make no mistake about it, I am back.
That's never been delivered that way.
In the third person, it has never, ever, ever been delivered that way.
I am back.
Yeah, it was a bit
I
wordy.
think you matched the appropriate fanfare the first time.
It was
quite
a
honestly.
bit wordy. You're right.
It was a bit controversial.
You're right. If you thought you were having a bad weekend, people are saying J.D. Vance had sex with a couch. More cushion for the pushing, Dano.
That is true. Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Does J.D. Vance have more cushion for the pushing because he's having sex with couches?
They call them love seats for a reason, Dan. Dan, you know what the couch said to J.D. Vance? Pull out. People are worried that the Trump ticket will turn America fascist. But J.D. Vance actually wants to turn America into the Ottoman Empire. Top 5 empires.
Wow. Top 5 empires. Excellent.
Ottoman Empire.
That's pretty good.
Number 5, Empire State Building. Number 4, the Galactic Empire. Number 3, the British Empire. Number 2, the Roman Empire. And number 1, the Yankees. Right? The evil empire. What happened?
Now I get it.
To the lady that called WFAN and said she would buy my book to use in her fireplace. Hey, lady, all sales count the same. Thank you. StugottsBook.com.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to throw a book into a fireplace? That lady.
A book that hasn't been written yet.
Listen, once you buy it, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Just buy the book. Yankee fans, do me a favor. Shut up. It's July. You're leading the wild card. You're a game back in the AL East. And your competition in the East is the Orioles.
The Orioles are good, Stugotz.
Taylor.
The Orioles are good.
The O's.
And
I just traded for Zach Eflin.
the O's.
What?
The O's and the Yankees.
He's starting today
Have not.
against the Blue Jays. Tricky matchup.
Let me tell you, Yankee fans would not last a month being a Mets fan. They would not.
The O's and the Yankees have been bad for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And yet still they're at the top of the standings.
Right. Shut up, Taylor. Feel bad for Marlin fans. Their team exists to trade their best players to other teams who are actually contending. The M in Marlins stands for minor league team for the teams that are actually contending.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. You can't get excited about the prospects they get back because once they become good, they'll be traded back to the Yankees.
Oh, but I can get excited by them. I was on the MLB network on satellite radio listening to minors and majors on Sunday.
Were you really?
In fact, I believe in trading. One of the trades the Mets made is they sent away a 6'9", 250-pound pitcher. I wonder how hard he throws. 6'9", 250.
The Mets traded him?
Yes.
News to me.
Yeah. That's what part of why your FAN appearance was controversial.
Jazz Chisholm, cool name. Top 5 athletes that connote a music genre. OLI, Zach Pop, Dwayne Johnson. Number 5, The Rock, of course. Nick Folk. Number 4, the Minnesota Twins outfield in the early 2000s, Soul Patrol. Number 3, Pat Rapp.
Wait a minute. Who was Soul Patrol? Who was the outfield? Was Kirby Puckett part of Soul Patrol? Who was Soul Patrol?
This is early 2000s. I feel like it's Torrey Hunter.
Okay, Torrey Hunter was
Yeah.
Soul Patrol.
Yeah.
Dude, is this a Taylor Hicks reference? The guy that looked like Leno from American Idol?
Look it up.
Okay, we've got to look it up because he has not.
Bryant Reeves, Big Country. And Dan Ford. Disco Dan. Taylor.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Are you not writing any of these anymore? Now Taylor's just writing all
The
of your
White
weekend
Sox are
observations?
54 games under 500.
Now.
That's all I got.
Been a
Listen,
minute.
what I'm doing with Taylor is Taylor lays down the foundation. I have to twist him and turn him a little bit to show him how to exactly write these things. And then I add my own, and, we put together weekend observations.
And
How
he
we do
fixes
it.
your spelling errors like foundation.
Of course he does.
Hold on a second. The Chicago White Sox, to give people slightly more information.
54 games under 500.
They've lost 14 straight. They're on pace to win 40 this season. The worst is 43 ever. Was
Southside.
the Detroit Tigers. They have as many blown saves as they do wins.
Penicillin for my Mariners.
Headline: Bo Nix is making his case to be QB1. Here's his case. He's not Zach Wilson or Jarrett Stidham.
That is a good case. It's a good case.
What a case.
Yeah.
He wins. Synchronized diving. Boring.
No.
Synchronized diving after taking a gummy. Mesmerizing. Incredible what they do. I mean,
How much? You have not been healthy. You have been self-destructive for a while now.
about 3 years.
How much gummy are you having these days? Because the other day you threw out a 40 milligrams, and I just was.
Valhalla.
I mean,
Do you do any flaxseed oil to offset it?
No.
Because sometimes I get like that choking sensation.
Huh.
It's supposed to alleviate that.
Really?
Yeah, I've just been doing less because of it. And now I'm on Alpha Brain, lion's mane.
Oh, is it good?
Are we going to see a situation where Stugotz has a Dion Waiters on an airplane because he doesn't know? Or is he just so strong in terms of immunity to high because he's been getting high for so long?
I have to take 40 milligrams. I mean,
Wow.
Nothing else
That's
gets
really
to you?
strong.
yeah.
That's really strong. You're asking me if Alpha Brain works?
Yeah.
I respond by saying, I remembered a Taylor Hicks reference.
You need to stop shilling for this Joe Rogan snake oil.
I'm wearing his jeans right now.
I bought some of it.
I
Not
was at the
jeans, I'm
MMA
on the Alpha
hangout.
Brain, yeah.
My friend, I don't know what's exactly in these Alpha Brain pills, but I know one of them is red.
How did the hangout go, Tony?
Incredibly, Dan. We had everybody over at Casa Tiki. The fights were good. Could have been great, except for a couple different things. But no bonuses.
Crap
No
card. Crap card.
The whole thing was tough. It started at 3 o'clock in the morning in Great Britain. Things were a little, upside down.
Salute to Bilal Muhammad, though. New. You feel me?
And new welterweight champion.
did.
Beat hometown kid Leon Rocky Edwards. Kind of a boring fight.
Dan, you know what the S in synchronized diving stands for?
I do not.
It stands for sativa, makes it a lot more entertaining.
That's the one that gives me like the choking.
Really?
Yeah, I bet.
Flaxseed oil?
I just read your next one. This is crazy.
What do you mean?
Well, whatever Taylor wrote next.
College football has a 2-minute warning this year.
I just learned that.
You're not playing CFP 25 and it shows.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Did you know that college football has a 2-minute warning this year?
Things you think about wandering around the West Village on a gummy. Valhalla, 40 milligrams. Roger Maris isn't a Hall of Famer. How?
Because he only had the one good year.
Just assumed he was. Top 5 athletes, you'd be surprised that they aren't Hall of Famers. OLI, Kevin Johnson, KJ. Number 5, Sean Kemp, the Rain Man. Everyone makes it into the Basketball Hall of Fame. How is Sean Kemp and Kevin Johnson not in Basketball's Hall of Fame? Explain it. Someone explain it.
Cocaine addiction ruined some of Sean Kemp's better years.
Parking lot shootouts. Rain Man.
Number 4, Chase Utley. I mean,
He's
Chase
great,
Utley is one of the 10 best second basemen of all time. I don't like him, but he is. I mean,
great second baseman.
yes,
Great hair.
amazing.
Has he been retired for 5 years?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was playing when I was last paying attention, so it has to be.
Number 3, Roger Maris. Number 2, Carlos Beltran. And number 1, this is a shocker, Torrey Holt. The South Sudan team can hoop. DeMar DeRozan said he's still friends with Drake after being on stage with Kendrick Lamar. You know what DeMar is doing? He's playing both sides.
He's also lying.
That
might have been the worst Connery
the worst
I've ever heard.
Sean Connery impersonation.
I was supposed to ask Mike to do it. I'm sorry.
I only knew because you said shides.
Sides.
But it might have been like foundation.
Sides.
The 40 milligrams. Like you could have just slurred your way through it.
Valhalla. Sal Licata said that the NL wildcard race was over. The Mets haven't won since. Callers are enraged. That's what New York sports radio is all about, Dano. I wish I had that take. I was too busy taking gummies and trying to take everyone's job. Not happy about that.
Which part?
Taking everyone's jobs.
What? Because
Those jobs mean a lot to those great people at WFAN, and I should not be doing that at an open microphone. I mean, it's okay to think about it and never say it out loud. It's not okay to think about it and say it out loud.
Yo, chicken time.
You couldn't mean it more. You couldn't be lying less.
You just can't out the half-footed, brother. Lying more short.
Chris Cody, what kind of chicken was that? You couldn't mean it less. You couldn't be lying more. Is that what that chicken meant?
You meant what you said. You're lying a lot.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Well, but you said
There's usually more than one, and you can't really tell what we're saying, and we're just like,
But you
say
said-
liar.
That's what I do. I just say a lot of things.
Too much money, Penny. I do give a damn.
I get it, chicken. I get it.
Do you know Stuart Feiner of Barstool, one of their great court jesters, was offended by you court jesting on WFAN? We've really arrived, Stugotz, when
great.
our greatest fool can be so much bigger and better than Barstool's greatest fool and make Barstool's tout hold his rosary beads because he so finds New York sports radio precious that you not knowing about Mets Yankees offends him. Fart is in the eye of the beholder.
I'm Team Feiner on this one. And have been since I was like 12 watching paid programming.
I love Feiner. He's great.
He's the best.
You offended him.
I don't care.
No, but I mean,
He's an absolute lunatic, and I'm worried about him generally, but he's funny.
I got to tell you, Dan, at this stage, I don't care. If Stu Feiner likes me, great. If he doesn't like me, great. I don't care.
No, but
I
I
win.
I want him to like me.
Boxing match for charity?
It's all right.
I just-
mean,
I bought a
I don't want
cameo
to box
he
Stu
did.
Feiner.
I just can't believe that you made Barstool's guy indignant about what you did to his morning radio.
Mission accomplished.
I mean, it's just stunning. It's stunning that you could outrage Barstool's
I was
guy.
confusing everybody. I mean, I really was. Listen, by the end of the week, I had everyone into an open microphone saying they wanted Evan Roberts' job. They came into it mad at me for saying it, and then they were saying it
But
themselves.
You just apologize.
I feel
for
bad
it.
about it.
You don't sound like you do. You had everybody talking about it. You sound kind of happy about it.
Talk to so.
This is the Olympics. The best athletes in the world. The best we have to offer. Can we not do better than cardboard beds? I can guarantee you who isn't sleeping in one of those cardboard beds. LeBron. You know what the L in LeBron stands for? It stands for luxury hotel. What are we doing? These are athletes. They need sleep. They need a comfortable bed, not one made out of cardboard.
This has been a complaint I have heard since the original Dream Team. They were sleeping on a yacht. Barkley and Jordan were sleeping on a yacht, and the regular Olympians were sleeping on cots.
By the way, don't even think about comparing this team to the Dream Team. Don't think about it. Don't think about it, and if you are thinking about it, don't you dare say it. I mean, what are you, crazy? Larry Bird had ice on his back.
That team is the reason the rest of the world is so good now.
Agreed. That team. Don't think about it. Red Cody, thank you for the invite to your birthday party. Put me down as a maybe. Have to get back to you. I mean, it might be a lacrosse mitzvah. I have no idea. I'll let you know. It's a birthday party I want to go to, though. It is. What is it?
21st of September.
Get back to you.
It's part of our 20-year celebration. It's right around some of the stuff we'll be doing to celebrate 20 years on the air.
I'll get back to you.
On whether you're going to do any of that with us?
Yes. I'm excited for that. When are we doing this?
Soon. It's coming up. It's like in
Really?
6 weeks or so.
Does this make us like, can we get into the Hall of Fame now, or how does this work? Did we know the
You
amount
might
of years?
have ruined that last week with the WFAN stuff.
Stu Feiner, really? He decides.
I don't know.
Be an odd person to decide.
I was
like
saying
it should be me.
The FAN people were mad because I was saying that you are a bigger personality than everyone there.
Oh, they played it back
for Boomer Esiason
Yeah,
because you are a radio Hall of Famer. Those people are not.
Yeah. Kobe Bryant's Staples Center locker hits auction with $1.5 million estimate. The people selling that should be ashamed of themselves. Also, the Stugotz is stronger than them. It's weird. Simone Biles finished first at Olympic qualifiers despite a calf injury. Hockey player. Blue Jays are listening to trade offers for Isaiah Kiner Felica. Who is this person? IKF. That is Taylor, by the way. Me responding to Taylor. Who the is Isaiah Kiner Felica?
You said
Not
Felica
right.
the first time.
That's not the way you
The
said
Bear. A no-hitter in baseball has never meant less. It's disgusting. We used to lead SportsCenter with him. We used to break into programming with him. Now no one cares. And this was a complete game no-hitter.
Those are the only kind there are.
Well, no, you have these combined no-hitters
No,
with
but
a
I'm
bullpen.
saying one
right?
pitcher can
Yeah.
only have a complete game no-hitter, right?
The 6:30 a.m. tee time always sounds and feels better the day before when you're booking it at 2:30 in the afternoon. And then you get there.
Everyone agrees that the by committee no-hitter is less valuable than one
That's
dude
not a no-hitter.
just doing
It's not a
it.
no-hitter.
That's not our no-hitter.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Tua grabbing the microphone to publicly celebrate himself as the wealthiest person in the Dolphins organization.
Strange.
Tua, the Stua is strong in
It
you.
was really strange. It really was. I'm just confused by it.
Hide the money, y'all. Broke people are around. Looking at.
Do Dolphin fans have to pay in order to hear him say that? Are they doing admission to come
How do you
training?
think
know,
he
it's
gets
free.
paid? I mean, Drew Holiday quietly finished as the third leading scorer tonight for Team USA. Everything Drew Holiday does, he does so quietly. He does.
I was chanting Drew SA at my computer when he had a steal.
I'm not a morning person, Dan. I love WFAN. But, man, morning radio is the sports radio of hell. It's the equivalent of hell for sports radio.
It is.
It really is. I did not feel good after my third show. I didn't. Someone called me Papa. Speaking of hell, or Bryles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Your stamina is not what it used to be. And
I feel great.
morning radio, well, you just... No, I'm not saying here.
Oh.
I wasn't criticizing what you just did. I was saying that your inability to make it through, it wasn't even a full week of morning radio. It was 4 days. I have questions, by the way. You were supposed to be here and there on Monday of last week?
No.
How were you not in either place on Monday of last week?
They didn't need me on Monday. Jerry Recco was filling in, top 5 update anchor of all time, Jerry Recco. He was filling in. By the way, I fired all update anchors at WFAN while I was there. I'm a jackass.
Didn't you just say you were sorry for bringing that up again and again?
Yeah, I am. I am sorry to do that. But anyway, Dan, they didn't need me on Monday. I figured you were fine here on Monday. Monday was a travel day for me. I had to get up there so I could be fresh. I had to watch the Subway series.
You were needed here. Nobody understood why you weren't here. I understand we have a
Weird.
video from your time up at FAN. What do we need to know here? I understand that you spent Meadowlark Resources. You had interns working at 5:30 in the morning. You were right across from the street from Meadowlark. Never went to Meadowlark.
I was busy. Yeah, I had a lot to do, and I regret not doing that. I do. I apologize to all the folks at the New York Meadowlark offices. I was going to go there Friday. I was told no one was there on Friday, and I was proud of everyone. And so I decided not to go. I had to go out and see family and do all this stuff. The video you're about to see is me on my final day at WFAN. I thought the listeners would like to see a day at WFAN with me. And so Lucy, one of our interns, she joined me at 5:30 in the morning, met me out in front of the hotel, and together we spent a day at WFAN. So this is our daily stroll over to WFAN in New York. It is 2 blocks from the hotel. The hotel's right down here. Lucy's kind enough to come out and record this with me. I asked her to do it at 5:30 in the morning. She wanted to text me back, go f*** yourself, but she didn't. She was nice. She said yes, she's doing it. She's doing it with a smile on her face. but I know what's underneath that is what the hell am I doing with my life? So anyway, we're going to walk you to WFAN. Inside the lobby here at WFAN. These are hallowed grounds right here, okay? They're really not. But they are, okay? These are the same hallways that Mike Francesa walked through, that Christopher Randolph Russo walked through, that Joe Beningo walked through, that the great Sidney Arthur Rosenberg walked through. We're now going to walk to the elevator. Lucy, you have a long walk around.
Got it.
Dan, we've arrived at radio. This is radio. We are walking through a hallway at 5:40 in the morning. Oh, do I miss the feeling of walking into a radio station. This is radio. Someone pounding at a door at 5:40 so he can make his 6 a.m. shift. Oh, this is I'm in radio. Okay, all right, we get that. Go on. No. Make sure we get that.
I got it.
You got that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
WFAN. So, when you're entering the biggest sports radio station in the history of sports radio, you need to dress it up properly. The entrance needs to be dressed up properly. Look at this. Look at the shrine to New York sports. First off, Lucy, come back here for a second. You see the beautiful logo of WFAN. This is how you have to have the entrance be, right? You have Mariano Rivera up there. You have Babe Ruth right there. Babe Ruth, think about that. There's Willis Reed, okay? There's Yogi hugging Don Larson, I believe. There's the marathon being run over the bridge. Patrick Ewing, Dwight Gooden, Dr. K, Dr. J, 2 of my top 5 doctors of all time. This is amazing. I'm actually tearing up right now. I don't know why, it's weird. We are currently watching the great Al Dukes do a radio promotion in which they are asking for caller 7 to the contest lines. I love a good contest line. Oh, do I love a good contest line. Okay, now we're back out in the bullpen. Here we go. I gotta be honest with you. Last year, everyone loved me. This year, not so much. A little frosty. I am here with a very special friend. It's the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz Universe. It is McLovin.
This has been a very special week here with Stugotz.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Just him being in the building has changed the entire energy of the whole company. It's a big company. There's several floors here. And every elevator I get in is like, oh, did you see Stugotz was here this week? I'm not kidding. Like, you have impacted WFAN, like the salespeople, everybody's talking about you.
No one's talking about me. He's lying. There's not a single person talking about me. Oh, this would have been my office. I just walked into the program director's office while he was on a Zoom call and blurted out, "Ooh, this would have been my office." I'm never coming back here again. I'm never gonna get invited back here again. So I'm here with my buddy, Mike Francesa, the Pope. Hi, Mike. Small feet. Oddly small feet. Lucy is agreeing with me. Oddly small feet. This is the room at WFAN. And what do I mean by the room? I have no idea, but it feels like the room. All right, we are in the WFAN studios. This is radio. Radio. Dan, show them the studio. You missed that? Radio. He looks like radio. This man is aged 10 years for every year that he has done morning shows. This is amazing. This is where Gio sits. This is where the great Boomer Esiason sits, who Dan said is the only one at this radio station that is bigger than I am. Debatable. Look at all this stuff. That is Patrick Mahomes with Boomer Esiason. He only has one picture with Patrick. I have a complete photo album with Patrick, but you know, I'm part of the Mahomes family. He's not. This is what radio is all about. We have phone lines and we don't have windows.
I want to be perfectly clear about this because I do think it's important. You guys do understand that Reese McGuire was actually masturbating in a parking lot and got caught by TMZ with police and everything else in 2020, masturbating in a parking lot. And so when Cal Quantrill yells at him, "You jacked off in a bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep," it's an argument ender. Whatever the fight is before that,
It's a fact.
You've lost the fight on that fact that he knows that about you and can deliver it at the height of rage. The fact that it's true is what makes it the best trash-talking item I've heard in a single sentence. Just to be clear. It doesn't work as an insult as well unless he was actually caught on video in a way that reached the Rockies. It reverberated from that parking lot to a mountainous region where a pitcher in Colorado can insult you with it. Amazing insult. Amazing that it's true.
A little too real.
Uncomfortably real.
I don't know. It's a little icky. Feels icky.
Icky
in more
is
ways than
exactly
one.
the word.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Exactly right.
I
Tell him,
guess
Tone.
it all depends on the parking lot, right?
I ain't cheating.
Exactly the word. Icky is the correct word that you wanted to go with there. But as an argument ender,
Oh, it's great.
you
Like if it's
jack.
a Lowe's off hours, like
Off hours.
if I'm on the way home.
Yep.
It'd be better than while driving.
Just
We'd
like-
all agree.
yeah.
It's safer than
Who
while
am I bothering?
driving.
Safer.
Yes.
Pulled
Way
over,
safer.
responsible. Yep.
Way safer.
So speaking of safety, I have a Dana White clip that I want to play for the audience. You heard Tony and Mike talk about how sluggish the UFC weekend was. This one is super interesting to me, Stugotz, because understandably, Dana White wants for his customer knockouts. And understandably, the fighter's like, I'd really like to protect myself in a fight. It's hard to do this, and I don't want to, for your extra $50,000, get knocked out and embarrassed in front of people. So I understand why Dana White wants to entice me with his chief manipulation, which is pay the fighters correctly, as opposed to what he's doing every day when he bullies them because he's a menacing bully skinhead. But let's listen to Dana White here as he just says, yeah, I want entertaining fights, and I'm never doing that again where I offer them more money and I get nothing but decisions.
Every time you get on a press conference, the fighters manage to get you to up the bonuses. Do you think there's an argument that maybe you should just up them to...
I think tonight showed that we should not, no. Upping them doesn't change anything. It doesn't make anybody fight any harder. It doesn't change anything. I'm not doing this again.
Ever?
Ever. Today was the last day that I'm doing that, yeah. Not saying that in the future the bonuses couldn't get up, but I'm not going to be at a press conference and say 200, 300, and never again. Never again. So you can thank everybody on this card for that.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Nobody fought any harder. There was no sense of urgency. Holy I want the 100,000.
3 a.m.
7 straight. Who gives a It's 7 o'clock in Vegas. So whatever. Yeah. Never again.
Okay. And last...
7 straight decisions. Yeah. The 100,000 was a real big woohoo. Let's get it, boys. That never again.
Not the way fighting works. Just not the way it works.
Until one of your stars says, hey, let's do $100,000 or $300,000 bonus. Like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Right. It was the good example too was it was two guys that was about to fight. Before the match, they was about to fight before the match, and then they say, "All right, fight." And it was like them dogs. They the gate open. It was like, "You punch first. You punch first."
One of those guys ended up actually not getting his contract renewed and now going to the PFL. Dana's like, "Hey, you guys have an undefeated guy. Good luck. He's not
That's what
staying
he
here
said.
anymore."
He cut him right after the fight and just said that fighting style's not for me. He can go be undefeated somewhere else. I will.
If only there was a matchmaker we could blame. Someone that was keenly aware of fighting styles.
Who puts them together,
Hunter
Mike?
Campbell?
Because like the fighting styles would kind of, you looked at this card on the surface, and if you follow the occasional UFC card, you knew that, okay, Leon Edwards is capable of being an exciting fighter, but he'll kind of meet his opponent where his opponent wants to meet him. And if in the event he loses like he did, that fight's not going to be very exciting. You have heavyweights. There was a soft knockout there, but the card didn't. No one who follows a sport card to card would say that's an exciting card. Those matches are capable of fireworks. That's not really the case. So you have a card with fights that are odd, and you have it being at 3 a.m. local time. It makes for a less than exciting card, and he's just lashing out, blaming the fighters for it. You're the matchmaker, bud.
The fight that you could draw a circle around and be like, all right, this is the fight, was the Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades, both guys known for knockouts, and we got what we wanted, a knockout in 25 seconds. Again,
soft.
Albeit could have been soft, but when you get punched in the face by a guy who's 260 pounds with a left hand, It's not that soft because you're going down and then getting destroyed.
Us calling that soft is funny.
It's just it just wasn't a highlight reel knockout. It was just it wasn't a great knockout.
It was a KO and a stoppage.
Tony, thank you for having me on the MMA Hangout. We had a great time there.
Record-breaking day on the MMA Hangout, by the way.
Thank you to Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Tommy Aspinall said something very interesting afterwards. He tried to start being a matchmaker because apparently anybody can do it. And if you just blame the fighters for a bad fight, like I can try my hand at that. Yeah, did you see what he called for? He called John Jones out, but he had a unique take, harkening back to the days of yesteryear with the UFC. Yeah. 2 fights, 1 night.
Yeah, it was what he called for was a heavyweight tournament, right? Alex Pereira, who's been the biggest savior for the UFC this year,
who Jake Paul wants to fight.
That would never happen for Jake Paul's sake. But he has been kind of transcendent in the sense that he's gotten to the UFC. He's fought already in 2 division weight classes, has won 2 titles. Now they're talking about him moving up from light heavyweight at 205 up to heavyweight, which, again, is from 205 and up. So it's a very broad weight class. Tommy Aspinall at the end was like, we should have a heavyweight tournament where John Jones fights Stipe Miocic, and then I fight Alex Pereira, and then the winner fights each other in a couple months. So it's kind of like a back-to-back, maybe 2 or 3 months separating these 2 fights, but there's no way that Dana's going to allow that, 1. But 2, they're talking about Alex. There's no way that he can move up to fight John Jones, who walks around at 245, 250. Aspinall, the same thing. Stipe Miocic is the same thing. It's big weight difference.
I think this past weekend in the UFC was like the football fans, real deal football fans who don't mind sitting through a 3-10 Thursday night football game. Yeah. I didn't mind watching the game, the fight, because Bloody, who I was complaining about being in a boring fight, he broke his toe first round. And Patty Pimblett came out and showed King Green, don't dive at me. So it was good to watch if you were an actual UFC fan. It just wasn't the fireworks that's going to bring a casual in.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that the card was really boring until Dana made it so. Right. Like, Dana was a guy that crapped on the card harder than anybody, and I was in YouTube comments. Those people live to crap on.
Well, he's talking about the money involved.
It's
like
2 different derivatives.
No,
of
he's
human
talking.
race.
He's talking about the excitement.
No, Stugotz, just so you understand, he's talking about knockout bonuses. Okay, trying to make the fights more interesting so that they do not go to decision. What I would just say to you, all of you who are so comfortable saying 260 soft knockout, is I want you all to imagine that you are in a fight. All of you. Your chief priority is what? Inflicting damage or making sure you don't fall under any. Now make it people who have to fight for a living, invest their entire lives in the idea of, I have to win this to get to future contracts, and I have to be careful because this guy wants that bonus money too. Anybody in that situation is going to be hyper careful. And then the next step on this is what Mike is saying. It's a matchmaker's job to make those fights interesting because you throw 2 people in there who are gonna fight that way. But the instinct, to me, in fighting, if you're Floyd Mayweather, is how do I defend myself more than what kind of damage can I inflict? How is it that I make sure that I don't have my embarrassment reveal itself in 5 seconds, because it's really hard to do this in front of people when you're fighting a similarly skilled fighter who's just as hungry as you are.
You have those fighters that are more defensive based, and you know how to shape fights around them. If they make it to the very top, and you have a guy that's earned a title shot, you can only do so much, and you just hope the greatness steeps through. I was into the fights because I like the chess match aspect of it. And the defense, especially when you're talking about takedowns, like that stuff is interesting to me. Nobody was harder on this card than the guy that was making it, complaining that it wasn't entertaining, when it didn't really come across as a surprise that the card played out the way that it did.
Mike, the way that I grew to like this sport is because I liked the mixed martial arts competing against each other to see which of these arts, the expertise in the singular arts, was the one that would win when you have all of the fighting styles in an octagon. It's the science of it is what I enjoy. But of course, all he wants is the barbaric entertainment and the knockout highlights, and thinks he can get it by offering more money. But offering more money is not an incentive in those spots. I mean, it's not.
He'd argue it quite literally is. But look, the Patty thing worked out for them. They'd been serving him soft opponent after soft opponent, trying to make him a superstar, and everybody was saying, saying this is the time that the glass slipper does not fit. We see through you. We know what this is. And he receives the biggest bonus of the night because he had the most exciting fight of the night and proved he's legit.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That when you're in a fight, money's not the incentive. It's not the chief incentive.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Is like you say like it's about damage mitigation. Floyd Mayweather got into a fight to win a fight, and it's all about what's my skill
That was
set?
just his style.
How am I best suited to win this fight?
But that's
some
what
of them
everyone
is
is doing.
No, not necessarily.
No, how do I win the fight?
Pereira's doing like,
left
how do I win
hands.
this fight? And it's by throwing.
I get what you're saying, bro. Put me in the ring against a Terminator and say whoever wins not with a knockout get 100,000. I don't give a damn about that
Yeah,
100,000. It's Terminator on my ass.
Leg kicks.
Right.
Although checking a Terminator would be tough.
The tough part is that, Dan, you're talking about all the mixed martial arts and how they are better than one another, and that's what we're trying to see, right? What we've proven with the scoring, too, and close scoring is if you get somebody on the ground with wrestling and you can keep them down for 5 minutes, you're going to win. That's the ultimate cheat code is if I wrestle better than you, I'm going to win. So it doesn't matter what mixed martial arts you know, I can do that.
Boring.
Exactly.
Yeah, in a fight, all the fights I'm in.
But you guys aren't professional fighters. That's the thing.
I'm 60-40 protecting myself.
I'm sure the guys that are in there are like, I'm going to 100% knock this guy's head off.
You guys have heard Mike Tyson say, right? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the nose.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're going to win the knockout bonus of the night right up until you're in a fight against somebody who's about as good as you are and you're afraid of it happening to you.
The bonus needs to be higher. $100,000 for those guys is not enough incentive.
It is.
No, Dan, it's not. $1 million, you will have guys like Floyd Mayweather, guys who don't go for knockouts, they will then go for knockouts. If indeed that's what he's going for.
Knocked out left and right.
Okay.
Them same guys.
So?
Over like Martin Lawrence in the fight against Tommy Hearns.
Yep. At least we get a knockout. I mean,
Stugotz, I believe do you guys think I have this wrong? Because I know that Stugotz's chief incentive is always money on all things. But I think that the chief motivator for most human beings that is higher than even money is surviving. And when I put people who, even if they're trained, in a fight in front of others where they can not only get knocked out, but also embarrassed, and their career can get derailed by being on the wrong end of the knockout and everything they've worked for, there's not an amount of money that you can put in these circumstances that is going to actually get you more entertaining fights.
I think we all understand that, but there are more entertaining fighters, and they're guys with different styles, different disciplines that they're stronger at. And if you're a matchmaker, if your top guys are more suited for ground fights and more defensive style fights, it's your job as a matchmaker to put guys that lean on other disciplines that are a bit more aggressive and a little bit more exciting for the fans, especially when you consider it's happening at 4 a.m. local time. I don't care what time it is in Vegas. Like it's 3 a.m. there.
The welterweight championship that we just saw between Leon Edwards and between Bilal Muhammad was a war of attrition in the welterweight division because neither guy was supposed to get a title fight. They didn't want Leon. He had been unbeaten for 9 years. Think about that. He had not lost a fight in 9 years until he fought Kamaru Usman and beat him. They did not want to give him a title shot through those 9 years. Bilal Muhammad, the same thing, hasn't lost in 5 years. They did not want to give him a title shot whatsoever. But it finally got to a point that they continued to win in their styles until it was like, all right, we have nobody else. Colby's out. Kamaru Usman's out. Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's probably going to get the next title shot, is just a buzzsaw who's going to be incredible. We'll see him in a little bit. But these are the two guys, we need to make this fight because they just keep winning and they've given us no choice. Dana is not happy that Bilal Muhammad won this title.
The boring winners.
Yes,
the boring winners division.
He was training with Khabib. You knew how this fight was going to go. I'm going to get him on the ground. I'm going to try to put him in a rear naked choke for 4.5 minutes. With that, Dana's like, damn, now I have a champion who is going to try and wrestle everybody, and that's going to be boring because if he wins and he's successful at that, then I got another wrestling champion.
But he looked good on his feet against my boy.
He did. He outstruck him.
Right, he outstruck my boy. So,
Dude, he totally closed off the octagon.
Exactly. So I think, like you said, put an exciting fighter against Bilal with wrestling skills. I think that fight will be more exciting.
I wouldn't mind seeing Edwards get another shot at it because it seemed as though, like in round 5, even though he was the much lesser fighter on the night, he kind of figured out what he had to do in round 5, and he's a guy that we've seen in the Usman fight in particular pull a win very late once he realizes, I finally figured this guy out. He just waited way too long.
Again, they got one of those two guys that they didn't want out now. They're not giving him an immediate rematch. I think Dana said as much. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is the next guy up because he has that wrestling acumen and his ability on the ground, but he's also a buzzsaw on his feet. So I think that's the next fight to make in welterweight.
I mean, he was trying to offset the main event by putting heavyweight power on the card too, and it was a knockout, but it wasn't a sensational knockout. One knockout is all you need. One moment from each card is all you need to make all those negative feelings go away, and he just didn't get it this time.
Stugotz, I want to show you a couple of things here because I don't believe that we have had a music phenomenon that is quite like Taylor Swift is.
It makes you emotional.
In the modern age. I have something
Choked up.
stuck in
Yeah.
my throat.
I thought you were talking about Gojira.
Yeah. It is amazing what she's doing. I mean,
This is crazy. If you think you're popular, this is a good reality check for anyone out there with
You're
a following.
not, right?
If you think you're popular, you're not.
A German stadium, a stadium in Munich, is filled for her concert, and then far enough away to not be able to hear that concert very well or see anything at all, there's also a sea of people.
On a hill, like just how many thousands of people do you think are in this hill? Like this looks like 50,000 people outside of the stadium.
You're saying
I have
they
a better
just
idea if they shot it in landscape.
right. That's a good point. But you're saying they just want to be close to the action. They can't hear. There's no speakers set up. There's nothing out there.
No, they can hear. They
Okay.
can
faintly hear it.
It's a concert, but you can't hear it. It's not. You can't hear it well, and you can't
Right.
see much of anything. And this happens to her all over the
Nuts.
world, where outside
Look at that.
people can't get in, and they're just thrilled to be able to be outside. Now let's.
You know what I realized? Like, it is way too hot down here in Miami. We would never do that.
Now
we could never. We'd melt.
we
It
also-
must be so nice out there. They're enjoying them. They just want to be outside near the action because their balls aren't melting.
Right now it's 80 degrees in Munich.
Look at all the fans that came to see Britney Spears.
Balmy, beautiful.
Come on, do the thing. The guy is the guy.
Not a lot of balls I saw there. I saw a lot of women there.
It's hot as balls for women too.
Is it? Put
Yeah,
it on
yeah,
the
that one
poll, please,
transcends.
at
That's
Le Batard
yeah.
Show. Put it. I don't understand
How
that
is that
expression.
possible?
I've never
I mean,
understood that expression.
You don't understand it?
I
Balls
do,
never get
but
hot?
I do, but I don't.
I think I've heard Jess say I'm sweating my balls off.
Put
It's just a saying.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is it hot as balls for women as well? Now let's juxtapose Taylor Swift against the SeaWorld concert series involving Soulja Boy. Who else is here at the SeaWorld?
Bow Wow, I believe. I believe this is Bow Wow and Soulja Boy performing where Shamu used to perform.
That was a question you were asking because you don't know if Shamu is around anymore. This is less exciting. The SeaWorld Summer Concert Series feels like something not unlike what the Marlins.
Hey, this seems like a pretty good party. I know which one I'd rather be at. This is great.
Sold.
Joe Boy.
Hey, look at him. Yup.